Hello, and welcome to my science project. Let's go to work.
Oh, what a deal, what a deal. Hey guys, it's Jax.
And I've got a problem.
Welcome in, you guys, to another little episode of Wonder. Today is unexpected. Today we're doing something that I never thought would happen, and it is happening. And I don't mean that in a dramatic way or in a way to keep you all suspended and baited, wondering what in the world is he talking about. Today we are selling a couple of pieces of equipment from the ranch that I just never thought we would sell. They've just been around forever and ever and ever and ever, and they're actually obsolete. They're not even used anymore. So because of that, I thought these are two things that I bet we are just going to have until the end of time. It'll be one of them old ranch things where they'll be like, boy, I wonder where that old boy got that from, and you just always wonder. That's what I thought these two items were going to be, but I'm wrong. These two items are going to be sold. They're sold. They're actually, the deal is done and they're sold. Kind of sad to see them go because they're a part of history, but at the same time, we will never use them again. And these people that are purchasing the items will use them. And because of that, I'm happy to let them go. I'm happy to let them go. Little clue. There's your clues. There's your clues. How's that? I'm happy to let these items go. And, you know, where we're not going to use them, somebody else is. They thought of an ingenious use for these two items. And so they came down, they approached us and said, hey, would you be interested in selling these two things? And we said, yeah, they've been sitting for a long time unused. So, you know, if you've got a use for them, and they've come up with this idea that I'll share with you a little later. Dad thought, old Rooster thought, you know what? It's always good to clean the ranch up, keep things moving, keep things, you know, flushed out if you can, rather than sitting on them forever and ever. And so we're going to sell them. But before we can sell them, we got some work to do. Let me explain. All right, y'all, meet Blue 2. Not to be confused with Blue 1. Blue 2. The big international. The big international. You may be wondering, looking at this truck going, what in tarnation is this big, beautiful machine? It's obviously a semi, but it has this box on the back. Why does it just have this little tiny box on the back? Where do the rest of the animals go? Here's the other piece of that puzzle. This here is a 30-foot pup trailer, double-decker. You could put livestock in the belly. You could climb them up a ramp and put livestock on the top. And then livestock would go in the nose. And if you were hauling pigs, you could actually double deck and have two layers. So you'd have layer pigs here, layer there, layer there, layer there. And in the belly, there is even a double layer. So you could actually have 3 layers of hogs in that pup trailer. That pup trailer would hook on right behind this truck, and you'd pull it down the road. So you had this, they call this the straight truck and pup that you pull behind it. And even more unique about this was that it's a California side loader. See, most semis to load, you got to back up to a chute and you load them in from the back. But these were unique in the way that you'd actually pull up to the chute sideways and you'd walk the cattle in, or the hogs, and then they would walk the rest of the way up into the trailer. So why in the world would you ever use one of these California side loaders? Because they're a unique creature. You're seeing all this stuff. They have a very unique way about them. This big, giant, long frame. Then over here on the back, they've got a pintle hook for that pup trailer to hook onto. Why would you ever use this setup? Well, there was a couple of reasons why. See, back in the day, the weight laws were a little bit different. They were a little more restrictive than they are today. And by using this particular setup, you could haul, I think Rooster could haul an extra, he could haul an extra 6,000 pounds, if I remember right. 4,000 to 6,000 pounds. And when you haul livestock, you get paid by the weight that you haul. So if you can haul more weight than everybody else, you're going to maximize and make a little more profit on that trip, right? So that was one reason why old Rooster decided to go with this back in the day. And he first bought this back in 1980. Not this truck, but this box and this pup trailer behind me, 1980. That's when old Rooster started the show. One of the positive attributes about this was, yes, it could haul more weight, so you get more money every load. The other cool thing about these is because they were jointed in the middle, basically back here, this setup gets around about as nice and tight as a pickup pulling a gooseneck trailer. Like, if you can get your pickup and your gooseneck trailer around this corner, you could get this whole semi loaded full of livestock and the pup trailer around the same corner. They were just a really neat setup, and because of that, these were very, very popular in California and Oregon and Washington, and they would use them. In fact, they were called the California side loader. That's what people in the trucking world have come to know these as, the California side loader. Well, as time's gone on, these have become completely obsolete. They were a little tricky because you had to have a certain setup, a certain kind of chute. You can't just get these into anywhere. You have to be able to pull up alongside of the chute to load them. Versus, see those cow trailers down there, they load from the back, see? Those load from the back. But if you come over and look at this trailer, there's nothing on the back, see? So it loads from the side. So because of that, they couldn't get into just any chute anywhere. The place you were hauling at kind of had to be set up for them. So Rooster's places that he hauled were all set up for side loaders, and many places were back in the 80s and 90s. But as time went on, trucking kind of standardized. They moved away from these because they were so dedicated. That was the other thing. You couldn't just take this off like that and haul something else with it. You were dedicated to livestock. Nowadays, you can unhook a semi from a trailer hauling livestock, go over and hook it on a flatbed, go over and hook it on a reefer, go over and hook it on whatever you want. So that semi became more versatile. This setup, very, very dedicated, very specialized, specifically for one purpose, because these boxes were not easy to take off. So that's a little bit of a backstory to Blue 2. Blue 1 was a 1980 Freightliner that Rooster bought back brand new. Put this very box on it in 1980. That was a long time ago. He put like 2.5 million miles on that old spring ride 1980 Freightliner. And then when it got wore out, he went ahead and bought Blue 2, which came out of Idaho. It was just a little short truck. The engine had blown up, overheated and blown up. It had like 100,000 miles on it. So he bought it, brought it up here. They overhauled the engine. They stretched the frame out way long, and they took the box off Blue 1 and put it on Blue 2. And then Rooster put like another 1 million miles, or a little over 1 million, on Blue 2. Rooster has a lot of miles under his belt. He's enjoying a well-deserved retirement. So you've got a little background now. You kind of understand the setup. You understand the pup trailer. I'll give you a little walkthrough on those two here in a minute, but it's hard. Can you believe that we're about to sell? Not what you think we're going to sell. Joke's on you. Okay, now let me explain what we're actually doing. We are not selling the truck. We had some guys come, and they just want this box. They want this box, and they also want the box that was on this 1988 Freightliner. Okay, now we've got this hay flatbed on this 1988 that we haven't used in quite a while. But both of these trucks had boxes on them and pup trailers. We used to use them because we used to have a ranch up in the mountains. It was really hard to get to, super tight roads, scary mountain roads. So Rooster had his good old truck, and then about the time I was 21 or 22, we bought this second truck so that we could haul 2 loads at a time. Because in those days we had like 12 loads of cattle we had to haul up to the mountains, and you could only make 2 rounds a day. And hauling 12 loads at 2 rounds a day with one semi was a huge undertaking. So we bought this other truck. Well, as time went on, I started branching out and trucking and getting out on the road, and realized that these trucks were not going to work for me to do commercial hauling anymore, just because of the way trucking times have changed. So we turned this one into a hay hauler, and this one is just sat. Blue 2 is sat. But these guys want to use this for something that's pretty unique, and I'll share that with you towards the end of the video. But long story short, they've purchased the 2 boxes, this one and the box from this truck. This other box is already removed. It's already on a stand over here. It'll be easy. This one, however, we have to get off, and it's gonna take some work. Okay, I want to give you a little tour real quick before we move on to the inside of this. So this is how it worked. You'd load livestock in, pretty straightforward, right? There's a cross gate. If you put too many livestock in one compartment, they can kind of slosh around. When you hit the brakes, they all pile forward. So you use a cross gate so that the 2 compartments are smaller. So there's kind of a bulkhead for each compartment. If you do hit the brakes or they need to shift around, they don't all pile up to the front and squish whoever's there. But this is the bottom deck. And then the top deck up here is this, you see. Same setup, cross gate and a deck. So to load this, there was 2 ways that you could load this compartment. One was this big old piece of deck plate right here. You'd put in this hole that I'm standing in. And then to load this upper deck, you'd raise this all the way up and you'd have a double deck chute, a 2-layered chute. So if you want to load the top deck, you'd send the livestock up the top layer of the chute and they'd walk in through here and in. If you didn't have a double deck chute, this truck still had a way to load, which is a little tricky. Check this out. So this entire ceiling, this whole thing, all of this up to that cross gate is on a hinge. It's basically a big ramp, okay? It's held up by these. So in order to lower this ramp down, one guy stands in here and he lifts up the ramp, makes some space, and somebody else has to unhook these, throw them down. Old Rooster would basically, he'd let this ramp down to the ground, and then the livestock could load down through this lower deck, climb up the ramp, and then you could at least use half of the upper deck, which is usually the case when you hauled cattle. But I gotta show you the coolest thing. This was the coolest thing that old Rooster ever came up with. Okay, Rooster would haul livestock out to South Dakota, to Sioux Falls, mostly pigs. And most cattle haulers, they just come home empty, all right? They go out, they unload, they come back to Montana empty. Rooster did the same route every week. And he, over the years, realized that there's some wasted opportunities there. So way back in the day, Rooster would stop out in the South Dakota prairie back in the early 90s, late 80s, and he would load this compartment full of small square bales. So he'd pull out into the prairie to some little small square bale stack and load prairie hay and fill this up, drive it back to Montana, and sell it to somebody. All that labor, all that work, so that he could have a backhaul. You know, nowadays people would just go, absolutely not. There's no way in the world that I would go through all that work to load this up just to make, you know, a few $100s. But back then, a few $100 paid all of his fuel. As everyone progressed and small square bales started to go away, Rooster came up with another plan. And that was, he realized that a lot of people in Montana needed corn, like field corn, right? And so he devised a way. To, and this was, people have heard of this, but he was one of the pioneers of this. He devised a way in this truck to start hauling grain back. So he'd haul pigs to Sioux Falls and then go to Mitchell, South Dakota, load corn in this, and haul corn back to Montana. Now I'm going to walk you through kind of this loading process because this was crazy. So Rooster, there's 2 holes. There's that one, and then there's one in the compartment up there you can't see from here. Oh yeah, there you see it. See that? 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes, okay? So what Rooster would do is he'd pull into a grain elevator under the spout. He would get a big old round piece of PVC pipe, like 2 feet around, and he had it cut perfect size, so it would fit on the floor, and then it would go up to that hole, basically making a tube. It would go straight through this compartment, okay? It would go straight through that upper compartment, and then this little trap door, see he's got pins to hold it in. This trap door, he'd pull that out. He had one there, and he had one here. And that would pour corn down into this compartment. So the next question is, well, what'd you do about the holes? See these racks? See that? Angle iron, angle iron. See those? Rooster had a deal devised where he would carry in that rack plywood boards. See those? How they make a hopper? After we unloaded pigs, we'd pull the plywood out, and you'd lay the plywood like this. So it would rest against the edge here, and it would come down. It would come down and rest against the edge of this. So it made just the exact line that board makes. Should make a hopper. So you'd set boards there, and you'd do it the entire length of this whole compartment. I'll show you from back here. So try to imagine this now. You got a plywood hopper there, and allows you to fill this entire compartment full of corn. And then you go to this last hole back here, and it would pour down and fill this back in and top it off. Now here's the pup trailer I was telling you about. Same setup. Pull up to the chute, livestock walk in, they go up the ramp. See Rooster's holes he had? He'd do the same thing here. Pour corn in through the ceiling. Now look at it from sitting over the ears. Pour corn in through the ceiling. He'd fill this nose up. I use this for tire storage now. Keep my tires out of the... but look here on the floor. See? There's a trap, and a trap. So 3 traps. Handles. See that? And in here, instead of using boards in here, he would actually just put tarps down. So he had a tarp custom made that would drop down, and a big heavy tarp would cover all these holes. So just an ingenious way. It was just an ingenious way to make money. So back in those days, back in the 90s, he would buy the grain from the elevator, fill his truck, and then he'd haul it to Montana and resell it to people out here, to grain elevators, to private folks, whoever needed corn, every single week. And he'd make about $600 profit a week. And that money, it seems like a lot of work to put those tarps down, to put those boards down, and every single week to do this. But he did it week after week after week. And he'd always tease that, boy, hauling that corn back, bought a lot of shoes for you kids and whatnot. In fact, speak of the devil, guess who's shown up? Ha! Old man Roost, OMR.
JJ.
Roost?
Good morning.
I was just walking them through, I was giving them the tour about your grain setup.
Oh, really?
Kind of touring, because I figured, man, we have to have that for posterity forever, because nobody will ever do that again,
Yep, every week for 15 years, set that old grain deck up.
And you started with hay?
Yep. Small squares. Thousands of them.
Oh, yeah.
Anything for a backhaul.
And I was too young, you guys. I was too young to do it. I never did the hay. I don't have any memories, no recollection of the hay. So that must have been an
Haul
thing.
424 bales in it.
Really? Oh, hand load 424 bales in and out every week. So when you came up with the grain scheme, that was way less labor. You probably thought you were on cloud 9.
Oh, we'd have to throw the hay in the door and then throw it 30 feet to the front. So it was a lot of labor.
Dropping corn in through the ceiling was like,
Yep.
whatever, piece of cake.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so anyway, I walked them through, wanted them to see kind of the setup and understand how it was all going, and I guess we'll...
Well, times are changing.
Yeah, that's for sure. I haven't been inside this truck in a long time. Hopefully the mice haven't been not too bad. Actually, there's no mice smell at all. There's plenty of droppings. Ugh. It's hard for you guys to understand what a jump this was, going from a 1980 spring ride Freightliner to a air ride, stretched out condo, double bunk, international. I mean, it was like we'd died and gone to heaven. That old Freightliner was such an old rough beast. Those of you that have driven the old Freightliners, they're just, you just kind of ram and cram to get them in gear and herk and jerk and go. And this thing was just, oh man, Let's see what this says. Something on the steering wheel here. It looks like a note. What's it say? Trash. Oh man. This is the truck that I learned how to drive in. This was my view. I mean, this was me. This is the truck at 13 years old. This is 14 years old. This is me having to get in and drive this truck home from Idaho back to Montana because Dad had an eye injury and slept in the back. This was me taking over on the freeway in South Dakota. Dad would get out to the freeway and he'd wake me up back there and say, "Come on up. You're gonna drive to Sioux Falls. I gotta get some sleep." So at 4 a.m, I'd take over and start driving, and I would run to Sioux Falls and get out there by about 2 p.m, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. He always said, "Get on the CB every so often and holler and ask if there's any DOT set up anywhere doing a surprise check." So I would just dutifully every 20, 30 miles, my little teenage voice asking these truckers if there's any road checks set up, how things were looking behind them. And all those trips I made, all those times, all of that running around, I never got caught. Oh, an old rooster would tell me, if you get caught, or if there's a surprise scale that we didn't see coming, just start slowing down real slow, wake me up, and we'll switch on the fly. And I'll just take over and we'll figure it out. And we never had to, though. We never did. But man, this is the truck that put me where I'm at today. I don't want to sound silly and say this is what made me who I am, but this is it. That 1980, I drove it just once or twice, very tentatively, a few times, and then I think in 2000 is when Dad got rid of it, which was when I was 14, and got this one set up. And to you guys looking at it, you're like, ooh, an old scabby cabby. But had a 13 speed in it. It'd do 75 miles an hour, which Dad's old cabover did about 58. And it was just quiet and smooth and all those things. So this truck has sat up here since, I want to say 2015 is what I'm going to say is when we backed it up here. And it really hadn't been used for a year or two before that. Maybe 2013 was the last time it actually ran out of state. But there was nothing really wrong with it when we parked it. I mean, we just quit using it. So I've got some plans for this truck. Now that the box is coming off, kind of got some plans. Hey, in fact, tell you what, I'm just going to tell you the plans. Look, that hay bed is going to get put on this truck. And I'm going to chop the frame on that truck. And I'm going to put a 5th wheel plate on it. It's just an old spring ride with a 350 Cummins and a 9-speed. Gonna chop the frame and put a 5th wheel plate on it, so I just have a kind of a banging around truck that you can haul gravel with and just do whatever. That truck also runs like a top. It's got an interesting story. Too many stories to share with you all at once, but let's get back to the matter at hand here. You've kind of got the backstory. Hopefully you understand what we're doing. You catch the sentimental value of this truck. I'm so happy that it doesn't reek of mice in here. There's been plenty of mice in here, but it doesn't smell of mice. So that means we can just vacuum it out good, clean it up, get this box off. But first, we got to fire it up. So a truck's got these air tanks. It's got 2 air tanks, and when they're full, that gives power to the whole system, right, to release your brakes. The only way you can get air in the tanks is if the engine's running or if you put air in yourself. So we got the old trusty blue, and then I got a little battery-powered air compressor. I'm going to just manually just put the tip of this on here and fill her and see what happens. block's released. This is sunk in the ground pretty good. I don't think it's gonna roll anywhere, but Rooster's gonna get a block. Just in case when I'm airing it starts deciding to go down the hill. Go show. I've got like 80 pounds.
So you have over it. I'll pay attention to try it so you don't have to use it.
I think I'll go that way. Because with no power steering, it's going to be, and low tires. I think if I can get down, if I can just get sideways in front of your shop, we got power there, chargers, tilt the cab.
Unless you go pull that block.
Nice, it's fine.
All right. Oh, baby. Go. Look out, Rooster. Rooster. It's gotta go. We got a tight corner coming up. It's gonna be tricky. Come on, Roost. Give me a pull. There we go. Came unhooked. We're rolling again. You guys, this is so hard without. I've got like a 90-degree corner coming up. I think we're gonna make it. Okay, I think I only ran into Rooster like 3 times. Okay, let's see how this goes.
Did you get when I ran into Grandpa? That's how it goes sometimes.
Go like record with. Okay, you gonna put this bumper on brood 3?
Yeah, I think so. We can figure it out. There we go. Might be busted off. Oh yeah, it is. There's a very split 2x4 something there.
That's probably high enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's get to the battery.
Does this one have locks? Do you remember latches?
This is on the other side right now.
I can't remember.
Get the battery.
So I see here it looks like 8/12 of 2016 was the last time Dad, I think this thing broke down on him on the last load, if I remember right. Had to get a new head put on it or something. And I bet after they did all that work, they changed the oil for him. So, and shortly after that, we parked it. So that's kind of our rough ballpark that we're going off of. Fred, there should be an orange cord over on the. Should be an orange cord over there. Nothing like a little battery juice in your hands. Just kidding, don't worry. Just old water. Ah. So we got double chargers on these batteries. Are from 2012, so they're 10 years old. I don't know if they'll hold charge long enough to get this thing going, or if we'll have to go get some new ones. I hope not. So we got the double chargers on. Getting a lot of juice in there. You know, it's funny. This truck actually ran so well over the years, I rarely ever saw the engine of it. So to see the cab up and see the engine, for me, all of my truck stuff, I know my trucks really well, but I've hardly ever been into this truck or been underneath it because it was Roosters. So anyway, so now we're gonna let this charge up. Next task is gonna be figuring out how this box comes off, and I can already tell you right now, this custom exhaust that they rigged up is riveted. It's mounted to the box. So we got to cut these rivets to free the box from the exhaust and then figure out how to make the exhaust stand up on its own for a little bit. We may just have to undo the clamps and pull the pipes off for now until we figure something else out. But looks like underneath here, so check this out. There's U-bolts every so often, but I can already see what's going to be stinky. Oh man. Maybe we're going to torch these. Look at this. They're upside down. They're upside down, so they've got to come all the way off of here. But you know, you can't get a gun on there. You can only use a hand wrench. That one's the same way. Lift. Let's see what else. Ugh. They're all on that way. And I shouldn't say they're on backwards necessarily, but that's just how these were designed, or for whatever reason. 22 years rusted on here. I think we're just gonna be better off to torch it. Torch the bolts, pull them off, and if we need, well, this is going away, and I know I have bolts for the hay bed. Actually, we might not even need to replace these. So we're definitely going to cut these. I got to get Rooster's approval first because it's his rig. But we're going to cut these with the torch. And that's going to make our job really fast. Once that's done, I don't know. Should be pretty much it, right? Torch it. Then we'll have to get under each side of it with the forklifts or the tractor buckets and lift it up. Hopefully in the meantime we have this engine running. But check this out. Look at these babies. The log dogs. I think Rooster put them suckers on right before she parked, obviously. Look at that tread on those. There was some story where the tire store, I think, lost his tires, and so this is all they had. So they got these big knobby log beasts. And with Michelin sidewalls, I don't have a lot of trust in those sitting outside for the last while. But anyway, you never know. We'll run them. Got a GoPro in one hand and some chicken in the other. Life is good.
It's either too big or weird.
Oh, they're huge.
It's so weird.
Hello, and welcome to my science project. Today we will be cutting metals with tools that have power. In one hand, I have a cut-off disc. It cuts metal really nice. In the other hand, I have what's known as the electric bandsaw. Band saw. Let's go to work.
Well, there it is. Looky there. Only like 20 more to go. Ha! Ouch.
Science. Sometimes it goes good, sometimes it goes bad. Look at my science. I don't know what happened. I pushed that bandsaw through and on the handles, and I don't know what I do not know what happened. It happened too fast. Cut the end of my finger off. Just kidding. Didn't. Just a slice. But it was enough that I needed to clean it. Get her cleaned out and juiced out and ointmented up, and we'll get back. We'll get back to the science.
Man, this works, obviously, for cutting these. But man, that bandsaw is if you've never used one, portable bandsaw, they're the cats, man. You can see how my wee finger was no match for the likes of this old fella. Whoa. Got a little tension on it, didn't it? Yeah, a little pressure. See how I was eating into the wood? That's how there's pressure pushing the whole box over. Kind of wild that all that it is holding this whole box is 8 U-bolts. Doesn't seem like much, but
It obviously worked all these years.
Old Rooster just showed up back to town with the goods. Check it out. Batteries, batteries, batteries. 4 of these batteries are not for Rooster. They're for my truck. But plan now, get the batteries. We're going to throw them in Bluetooth. That should give us all the juice we need. While Rooster was gone, as you watched, Freddie and I, we got all the bolts cut. The box is no longer attached. Put these batteries in, get some fire in the old belly, and make sure this truck's running right. And then we'll get tractors on each side. Gonna try to lift that box up. It should just lift right off with the tractor on each side. It should lift right up. Then we should be able to pull the truck out from underneath it and then set the box down on the ground. Guys are coming tomorrow to pick them up, so that's kind of what we got to do, and we are just about there. But the big question of the day remains: will it? Will it? What do you think? What's your money on? My money is on it goes row, 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 boom. 1, 2, 3, boom. Cummins, man. Cummins. Put the juice to the juice to the juice. Think like this. I remember. Come on, baby. There. Oh yeah, I saw a spark. See that little spark weed? Nope. There was a wee spark. Oh man. Oh, you guys, it's gonna be so weird to have this old truck running again. It's just sat for so long. We just didn't quite have a use for it. Weren't quite sure what to be doing with it. And it just seems like everything's come together. Remember that hay lease? You guys remember that place that we looked at last summer, the fish and game place where they wouldn't let me come down and cut it because all the paperwork and all that? That place is really hard to get to. So what we're kind of thinking is putting the hay bed on this truck. Remember how I told you these trucks get around really nice? I'm going to put the hay rack on this truck, and I'll pull a little pup trailer behind this for hauling hay, and it can get around really well. So it's almost like this truck was made for that place. So hopefully that place will come together. We'll get it lined up, and everything will just kind of jive, you know? She's on the low mark. Good enough. All right. One of my favorite things about cabovers is the dipsticks are like 20 feet long. Okay, well, see what she does.
Lower it first?
No, I don't think you need to do it.
I don't think so, but.
That sound brings back some memories, huh?
Look there, just blew a bird out of the stack.
Look there. Just blew this thing up out of the stack. Woo! side them up, the smokestacks are connected to the box. Remember I mentioned that earlier? That's how the brackets are made, since everything was so tight together. So what we're gonna do, I think we're just gonna cut the rivets to get the brackets off, and then right here is the exhaust, just the band clamp. I think we'll just pop those off, and then we'll just pull the stacks off for now. The flatbed we're gonna put on, we'll have to figure out a way to mount the stacks up at another date for another project, but right now that's the plan. So snip, snip, zip, zip, drip, drop. All right, you guys, that's it for today. Everything's done, everything's ready. Old Blue 2 is moving on to the next stage of life. Sorry for misleading you at the beginning of this into thinking that we were getting rid of some cabovers. I am pretty convinced that cabovers come here to die. They don't really leave here. Once they come, they don't really leave. I've got a bad cabover habit. There are 6 total, so anyway, so tomorrow these guys are gonna show up. So the plan for tomorrow, just to recap here, we got all this, it's all completely unhooked, undone. We will get a tractor on each side and we'll lift this box up. We'll pull the truck out and the box will just be suspended there between the 2 loaders, and then we'll get them to back in with their flatbed and we'll just set it down on there. I can tell Rooster's getting excited about getting this thing turned into a hay hauler. You can just see the wheels turning and the memories come flooding back and all that good stuff. So that's it for today, you guys. Tomorrow will be another day. So we'll see you in the morning.
Hey JJ, the colony just called and they've left Lewistown, so they should be here shortly. I took the tractor up. I think I brought it around from the back. I think I can get the teeth under the back of that.
Okay.
And lift that up. And so we'll just need 2 jacks on the front to get that a little height.
Get her up.
So they should be here shortly, and
Okay.
anxious to see if it works.
Should we fire up Old Blue, I guess, see if, make sure those batteries are still working?
Yeah.
Get the air up so we're good to go there.
Yeah, I think so. And then the adventure begins.
All right. Think it's gonna start day 2. Let's see. Whoa! So I found there's a few pieces of some good square stock, some really heavy square stock aluminum. Look at that stuff that I forgot that we'd stuck in there just to get it out of the way. And no point in sending that down the line, so we're gonna go put it up on the scrap pile. So you guys, this is always the sketchy kind of weird part where it just looks unnatural, right? Like it's just suspended, hanging in the air. You don't want any hydraulic hoses to break. We're all free and clear and away from this, but it's just a weird moment. So things might get a little tight here. Got to get this truck backed in, get everything leveled right. A lot of coordination going on, but so far, so good. Here you go.
That thing, it won't go all the way up. It won't go all the way up. It'll go up a little bit. That hook there, oh, it'll work, but then it's still.
Yeah, once it's there, it'll be all right. See these U-bolts here that are hanging down? We can't lift any higher because the skid steer is not heavy enough. Okay. So I'm gonna nip them off. We wanted to get this underneath the box. In case we have a failure, the box will drop on this and will squish me. I don't enjoy doing stuff like that, but anyway, I think we're okay. Tried to be safe.
Just lay it down. Okay, just back up.
Put it down on here.
You have to, so you can move with the tractor.
Okay. Hold on. Can we move the whole box, me and Dad, your way? Because I can reach clear in until he's clear your trailer. Then we want to set it down, right? We'll go further this way so you're clear. So we'll move both tractors this way a foot, and then he can back all the way in, right?
And then after we set it down, we push it over.
Yeah, we can tweak it and do whatever, but that'll
leave it. It's not hurting anything.
Okay. Okay. Hey man, so there you go. We got it. Nobody got crushed. Nobody got squished. The guys are happy. One down. We got another one to go. Almost forgot. Can't be leaving that thing behind. Huh? Okay.
Well, I got bite as well as that snow.
Yeah, he's right on the rub now. It's fine. I just keep coming. Okay, hold up. Bro! Let's wait there for a minute. Oh, hang on a second. Good stop, bud. Hey! It's pretty tight, boys. It's pretty tight, boys and girls. We're close, though. I think we're gonna wipe out this railroad tie.
Oh yeah, easy.
He's all right.
Back up.
Good. You guys are you gonna set it on any blocks at home, or when you unload it?
Should probably shut it on blocks.
You know what? Well, you guys, back in 1980, these babies would have been just shining pearly, pearly, pearly aluminum shine. They'd have been polished. They'd have been wise. They'd have been headed from Wilson out to probably to Twin Falls, Idaho, to Roscoe Wagner, or maybe to K.R. Rao down in Billings, Montana. But those days are long behind. And they're gonna go to a new home, get a new life, with a new job. So yeah, that other tank we shouldn't have to fill up. Do we? Can't imagine this is gonna roll anywhere, but
Yeah.
it's sunk in pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll put air to what we have and see if it'll.
Where did it come? Oh, it's here. How much did it take to use up?
Took about 20, but it's not releasing the valve, so let's hustle and put some more air in and probably get enough to get her down there.